Silence. That's all that was required to stop today's most memorable injustice of all time. Silence. If you read the account of today's history, you'll find an account that most cannot understand. Unless you understand the legal proceedings of that time, wrongfully accused, Jesus's accusers before the Sanhedrin contradicted one another. Their testimony was inadmissible because they could only convict at the word of two witnesses. But according to the text, none of the witnesses agreed. Jesus would be free to go. In desperation, the court asked Jesus if he had anything to say in response. Everyone understood these rules. All Jesus had to do was stay silent. He would be free to leave. No punishment required. No pain. No cross. No whipping post. No crown of thorns. And speaking of which, what was the charge anyways? For what would he be accused and tortured and die? Blasphemy. What did he say that was blasphemous? Well, this is what the accusers could not all agree on. What exactly did he say that was blasphemous? The case for the prosecution was over. There was no evidence that could be produced in the proper way to confirm that Jesus had blasphemed. It is in this context of desperation, and with everyone's understanding in the room, including Jesus, that the high priest turns to Jesus and says, "Do you have no response to your accusers?" It's likely everyone knew, but certainly the priests and the lawyers and Jesus recognized that Jesus needed only to do one thing to be immediately set free. All he had to do to win the case was this: stay silent. In their day, like in our day, there was something of a Fifth Amendment, as in America. The accused was legally not required to answer any questions. The accused had the legal right to stay silent. And if you're watching the story unfold like it did 2,000 years ago, and if you're rooting for Jesus, you're rooting for his righteousness and his goodness and his holiness, there's probably something inside of you, like it is for me as you watch the story, that roots against yourself. As I read the story and I watch it unfold before my mind, I can almost hear the silence in the courtroom as a high priest asks Jesus for a response. I'm shouting at the story, something I would not normally say. Shut up, Jesus. Something in me wants to cry out with an understanding of this pinnacle moment in a courtroom 2,000 years ago. And I just want to shout, stay quiet, Lord. They don't even know who you are. And I don't want to see you suffer. Jesus, stay silent. There's some people who believe that Jesus was the victim of a legal system gone awry. But this is not what happened to Jesus. He was not a victim of a broken system. As a matter of fact, he said it this way. He said, "No one can take my life from me. I willingly lay it down for the sheep." If you understand the story, you will root against the Sanhedrin and you will scream for Jesus to stay silent. Listen to me. But if in this moment, Jesus chooses himself, if he chooses his comfort, if in this moment he decides it is not worth the price, it is not worth the cost, it is not worth the effort, if in this moment he will just stay silent, all of humanity is doomed. This creation of his, that he has decided to tabernacle himself among, this creation that he has decided to become one of. This is the moment. This is the legal moment where the rightful king and the righteous God chooses to endure, listen to me, the obligation and sacrifice to a humanity that betrayed him. Like an unfaithful husband or an unfaithful wife, Jesus has a decision. He does not have to lay down his life. He does not have to speak. He is not required to answer our questions. We have no legal authority to obligate him, this true king, to our desires, our whims, and like the Sanhedrin, our neediness to always be right. He could have stayed silent. But he spoke. Thank you, Jesus. And when he spoke, he condemned himself to love us. The God of heaven, the one and only Almighty, in the most astronomical disparity ever expressed, chooses the path of immeasurable sacrifice on behalf of a creation he chose to love. And he does it, listen to me, by choosing not silence, but speech. He chooses to speak on behalf of a creation that required his sacrifice, instead of silence on behalf of a comfort he rightfully deserved. He spoke. He spoke. He didn't speak just anything. He answered and spoke the truth to power, a truth by which he still was not guilty, but they were too blind to understand who he was. Listen to me. He answered with the words as they asked him the question, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of the living God?" And he said, "I am, agony." Same answer to the name that Moses asked in Exodus chapter 3, who will I say sent me? I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven. He said, he spoke. So here's the point for you today. Listen to me, change agents. Listen to me, those of you who feel called. There's too much silence from the people of God. Oh, it's comfortable to be silent. It's easier. We're not obligated. So now the choice is ours. Silence, because it's safer, or speech, because someone else's future depends on it. Jesus chose the agony of speech. What will you choose? Happy Good Friday.